Bubble Food X. It's nice to see you all again. I'm Yuhan and I'm from Taiwan and now living in Sydney. Today I'm very excited because I'm going to share with you one of my favorite desserts. It's called Lotus seeds and snow fungus soup. This is a very healthy dessert. I hope I can use this recipe to break through everyone's stereotype that usually the dessert won't be high fat, high calorie, and no nutrition. Instead, you can feel free to have this and also get a lot of nutrition benefit. The other thing that I like this recipe is because I have a very strong childhood memory with this. Because when I was little, my mom always cooked lotus seeds snow fungus soup because it is one of my mom's favorite. And my mom always told me when I was a kid, say, oh, this type of dessert back in the very ancient China in Qing Dynasty, only very wealthy family can afford it. So I think this is a very luxurious dessert. Of course, these days, it is a very affordable and healthy dessert. I developed this recipe based on the memory of the flavor that my mom created and also some very delicious version that I have had in the past. So I take a very long time to create this recipe and I hope all of you like it. Oh, there is another thing that I would like to brainstorm with all you guys. As you can see, the name is called Lotus seeds and snow fungus soup. Once I use fungus, this word will make a lot of people who is not familiar with Chinese food culture will think, oh, that's a disgusting fungus that with a lot of dirt. How can you make it like a delicious dessert? But actually, this is directly translated in Mandarin and its name actually is very beautiful. I tried very hard to think of a beautiful name for it in English, but I just cannot think of it. So today, in the end of the video, I hope all of you can leave a comment below to share with me about your experience trying this recipe, but also if you have any ideas, let's rename this delicious and healthy dessert. Let's get started. Firstly, we are going to prepare our ingredients. We only need 4 main ingredients because it is a very simple dessert. The first one, of course, we need snow fungus. This is the dried one. The second one is jujubes. Third one is Goji berries. I think this is already very popular in Australia, and if you follow Bubble Food X before as well, you will see we also use it in our 4 herbs pork rib soup. The last one is Lotus, which is my favorite. We also use this in the 4 herbs pork rib soups recipe. As I mentioned before, if you always follow Bubble Food X, you don't need to worry. The ingredient I introduced to you will left in the pantry for just like dishes and you are never to finish it. That's not the problem. Firstly, we have to soak our snow fungus and lotus seeds. You only need to soak our snow fungus probably for around 10 minutes. And this is lotus seeds. In Australia, you'll be able to buy the dry lotus seeds and this fungus, all these ingredients in the Asian supermarket. If you are in some other Asian countries, sometimes you can buy the fresh lotus seeds in the traditional market. If you buy the fresh lotus seed, you don't need to soak it because it's already soft and wet. Instead, what you have to do is in the lotus seeds, it has the green core inside it. You have to remove those green core with toothpicks because they taste very bitter. They are very healthy though. They are also a type of Chinese medicine, but they are very bitter. Okay, it's probably around 10 minutes now. You can see it become very big after it has absorbed a lot of water. And you can see we have to remove this kind of harder part with, you can see it's a little bit darker yellow. This is the bottom part of the snow fungus. If you don't mind, you can also cook it, but it won't taste as good because sometimes it's too hard and you won't get it soft, and it's a bit harder to remove it. So now we are going to do is to remove this yellow dark part, the harder part, and also break it into the small pieces. My personal preference is I like to break it into the pieces that is not too small, not too big, maybe like this size. Part of the reason is because if you make it too small pieces and we are going to stew it for around like almost 2 hours, and it will become too soft. Like this, you can use scissors to cut this away. If you can't be bothered using scissors, it's totally fine to use your hand as well. Although you can easily find it in the Asian supermarket, I actually recommend you, if you can go to any good Chinese medicine shop, to get it instead, because usually their quality can be better there, but it won't harm if you cannot, there's no Chinese medicine shop near where you live. And sometimes you might see that I break the light yellow part apart and still put it back instead of remove it, because it's not that hard, so we can keep it. But this one obviously is very hard and we just don't want this part. Okay, I think that's all done. We can start to cook it now. The first step, we are going to cook the snow fungus first. So put all of the snow fungus after we wash it and break it to the small pieces, and add 1.5 liter of water into it. I use cast iron pot, as I mentioned in other video before, because cast iron pot is very good at keeping the heat in it, and the design of the lid here will help stewing the stuff quicker. But it's totally fine if you just have other whatever pot you have at home. First thing, we have to bring it to boil with high flame. The water has been boiled. We are going to stew it with the smallest flame. The smallest flame of my stove is actually this one, but this one is too small, and this one will be more suitable. After we change the stove and use the small flame to simmer it for around 1 hour. During this period of time, we have to come back to stir it from the bottom from time to time. Part of the reason we need to look at it and stir it from time to time is to avoid overflow. When we stir it, we can to check the status of the whole soup. We want the soup become a little bit jelly-like and it become a little bit slippery. I'll show you later on. And remember, please don't cook snow fungus with other thing else before we got those slippery and a little bit jelly-like texture. Because I used to cook jujubes and snow fungus at the same time. No matter how many hours I cook it, I think I cooked it for almost the whole afternoon. It just won't get there. So just cook the snow fungus by itself until we get the texture that we want before we start to add another ingredient. Now we already stew it for 18 minutes. Let's have a look. The water level is not cover all the ingredients. Add a little bit of water. We don't want to add too much. The reason is because if we add too much water, it might overflow and you will need to clean it afterward. If you add the water, use the higher flame to bring it to boil again before you turn it back to the smallest flame. In our recipe, we say we need 1.5 liter of water, but that 1.5 of liters water is the very first time you add water. During the whole process, you need to check the water level from time to time, like what I did just now. If the water level goes down like quite a lot, you have to add a little bit of water according to the situation when you cook it. It start boiling again, we can turn it back to the smallest flame, and let's continue to stew it. We are back again. We have already shimmered it for around 35 minutes. Let's see what's the difference. The snow fungus getting more softer. I think the liquid is start to get a little bit more like a jelly-like, but I think it's still a while to go. When we stir it more often, for the white snow fungus to release its substance and to make the whole liquid more slippery and more like a jelly. To be safer, because we are going to still stew it for a while after this step, so I would going to add some water. But be careful, don't add too many water, otherwise the water will get diluted again. Now we already stewed it for an hour. Let's have a look. That's beautiful. Great. As you can see, everything become very soft, and you will see the soup is like slippery and it looks like a jelly. At the same time, you will smell the snow fungus smell. It's very gentle smell, I would say. We are going to add jujubes, and after adding jujubes, we are continue to use the small flame to stew it for another 30 minutes. Oh my god! I'm not sure whether it's Murphy Law or not. While I'm going away, while I'm waiting for the time before we go to another step, I make it overflow, but yeah, it's not the end of the world. It's not too serious. It's actually just a little bit flour out, and yeah, the soup still looks amazing. So it's not too many water flour out, so I don't think I need to add more water as well. We just need to be careful. As I mentioned, it's not the end of the world. You just need to clean it afterward. But yeah, I still highly recommend you to be careful about this. A small tips that I would like to share with you is, if you found that your the water keep overflowing, what you can do is to a little bit open it a little bit, so the water can evaporate it a little bit and it won't overflow. However, the drawback of these tips is the water will evaporate quicker, and you will need to remember to add a little bit of water. Don't add too much, otherwise it will dilute the slippery and jelly-like texture of the soup. At the same time, I would like to share with you about some tips about jujubes. When my mom created this dessert, she only used lotus seeds and snow fungus, so that's the overall flavor, and that's my childhood memory. But I know after I grew up, I found a lot of dessert shop that will add jujubes and other ingredients that I use today. So, but I still like the dominant flavor to be snow fungus and lotus seeds. That's a reason why I add the whole jujubes instead of cutting it into small pieces and remove its seeds in the middle. If you like the jujubes taste and its flavor, you can cut it into small pieces and release, make its flavor to release in with the soup. And because jujube is sweet, so if you cut it into small pieces, the soup will be more sweeter as well. Okay, we already shimmer it for another 30 minutes. Let's have a look. Looks nice. Even the water overflow a little bit while I did not really carefully take care of it, but it's still okay. Seems like the water level is still quite nice. And let's use the spoon to check whether it can be cut through easily. So do this. Oh, yeah, it already can be break through easily, even with this kind of spoon without sharp edges. And because the water really get overflow a little bit, I still want to add a little bit of water, just a little bit. We already soaked these lotus seeds and now it become very soft. You can see I can easily press it and separate into two. And now we are going to add this into the soup. We are going to shimmer it for another 25 minutes. Did you see this green little stuff? The green little stuff in the middle is what I mean just now. If you buy the fresh one, each of them usually will have this in the middle, and I highly recommend you to remove it. And because this is the dry one, they usually already remove it usually already remove it by machine, but sometimes they will have one or two have this kind of small dust stuff in the middle, but I didn't, because it's just only one or two, so I didn't check it one by one. Okay, we already stew it for 25 minutes. Let's have a look. Wow, that looks nice. Oh, it smells good. At this stage, you can start to smell the mixed aroma from the snow fungus, the lotus seeds, and also jujubes. Jujubes actually has a kind of special aroma. It actually smells a little bit sweet. At this stage, you can taste whether the lotus seeds is soft enough. Let's try a bit. Because we are going to stew for another 15 minutes with goji berry. We don't need to stir the lotus seeds until the exact softness level that we want. If you like the lotus seeds to be very soft, you can stew it a little bit longer, and vice versa. We are going to add goji berry. Goji berry is very healthy and is famous for our eyes health. We don't want to cook it for too long. I usually just cook it until it gets soft, and 15 minutes will be good. Just want to mention, this is the boiling level, that how it boils looks like. If your soup boil more than this, I highly recommend you to change to another stove with even smaller flame. Otherwise, your water will evaporate very quickly, and if you keep adding water, there's a concern that the slippery and jelly texture will get diluted. We already stew it for 15 minutes. Let's have a look. Oh, it's so beautiful. Turn off the flame. I can smell the overall flavor of it. Love it. Now we stew it for almost like 2 hours, and you can see it's like a jelly. The soup is like a jelly and it's slippery. Okay, and you can see goji berry become bigger and it's already softer. We already finished cooking it. When it is still warm, it's time for you to add sugar. You can add as much as you like according to your personal preference. Just a small reminder, jujube is sweet itself, and goji berry also tastes sweet. So they will provide the natural sweetness to the dishes. Personally, I don't like to add any sugar. Instead, I will eat it directly, either warm or cold. However, I know a lot of people like very sweet flavor in their dessert. You can add sugar as long as that sugar does not have strong aroma, which affect the overall aroma of the dessert. Or the other way you can do is you can add a little bit of honey before you serve it. And there's another delicious way that I love. I will add a little bit milk into it, because milk also provides a little bit of sweetness to the dishes, and I don't need to add any other extra sugar. It's testing time now. Okay, let's try the original flavor. Oh, it's so successful today. The texture of all soup is become very slippery, and it's like a jelly. It really tastes like a jelly, and the lotus seed is soft and not too soft, so it's once you bite it, it's quite creamy. Let's have a jujube stove. Once you bite the jujubes, all the sweetness comes out. But I know some people really like the sweet taste, so let's try the one that with honey inside. Let's add a teaspoon of. Let's try the one that with a little bit of honey in there. Because honey, although honey has a little bit of aroma, but it's not too strong, overall it won't affect the aroma of this dessert. I think adding the honey afterward is actually a good way. If you are going to serve a lot of guests, it's a good way for them to decide how sweet they want to have for their own bowl. This lotus seeds and snow fungus soup can be served in cold as well, and you can add a little bit of milk as I mentioned just now. Oh, this is really healthy dessert. I hope this recipe can break through your stereotype that dessert is always unhealthy, and you can even have it as a breakfast. If you think lotus seeds and snow fungus soup make people link with the fungus in the dirt and disgusting, I got the feeling because I'm trying hard to think of a good name for it. Share with me in the comment below about your experience about cooking this dessert soup, and also if you have any idea about what kind of beautiful name we can give to this healthy and beautiful dessert. I'll see you next time.